triple. He does get a kill on his own teammate, but it doesn't really matter right now. Jones just still going. He finds 3 as well. Might do the smoke and finds 2. That might just be a free use find. It's disgusting from Dragons. Lovely stuff from Sergio. Oh my god. Saki, TJ, and Breaker, you'll go back to the respawn. Oh my god. Breaker finds 3. TJ just finds 3 massive kills for his team. Welcome back to the EU Gears Pro League. My name is Tony. I'm here with Fru. What a cracker we had to kick things off. Dear me, that was a good game, Fru.
Yep.
EU's finest, now known as Elevate, of course. We'll get that right for the... I've had to correct myself about 15 times now from that one. But against Rated R, a cracking game between them. And in the end, it was only a couple of rounds that separated them.
Yeah, it was just a matter of lives in the end for the first map. And the second map, a matter of just a few little mistakes in the Rated R part that kind of kept it from being as close, to be honest, in the end. Fantastic series, exactly what we wanted from first v second. And yeah, definitely a good way to kick off this week.
So we've seen first v second. We are now going to see second v third. Regal Reserves are going up against Obey Alliance. Did I say it? You know what? I segued so nice into it. I had it in my head.
Third v fourth, we're going to see.
Third v fourth. Numbers are hard.
I'd like to watch Rated R again.
Roll the Regal Reserve VT. For God's sake. Foolish of me. Good lord. Anyway, Regal Reserve are going up against Obey Alliance. What are we thinking then? Because both these two teams sitting at the third and fourth.
Nailed it.
Thank you. Regal Reserve are obviously in third. They have been underwhelming this season, I feel. Very underwhelming. Of course, they did make a change. Has that played into it? Probably. Let's not get ourselves wrong. Fracture's obviously coming in. Striker's now finding himself on undoubtedly the better team as well.
Yeah.
Got to sting a little bit if you're Regal, but either way, Fractures has come in, not played so bad, but this team just do not seem to be ticking right now through.
Not at all. And I think, yeah, the biggest thing is that Strikers has been playing so damn well. Over on Rated R.
For the most part, yeah.
Fractures, he's been playing very well himself, but he's not had the same impact, right? He doesn't look as fantastic on the pad at the moment. But quite honestly, they've had a few tough games, you're right.
Yep.
But they scraped it out against Obey last time around. They managed to win that 9th round twice in a row. They were behind on Bunker. They managed to win that one. They beat them on District as well. So there was definitely a little bit of clutch factor coming in from Regal Reserve there that they kind of look back on, and that was the good week for them, realistically, right? That was the one good week. So matching up again against Obey Alliance, they do come in as the better team out of the two on paper.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at Obey Alliance on paper and find out who is on their roster. Of course, you should all know it by now. A couple of changes coming in for them at the halfway point. Of course, this season we have seen J-Rage and Ashens on this team. And, I mean, things haven't went so well for them, let's be honest, since these changes did come through. Last season, we see them be a big slaying team. They like to get aggressive. Ever since then, though, we started the winter quarter, things have looked very, very slow for them. On occasion, we've seen glimmers of hope, like when they went to final round against the Youth Finest on Bunker.
Yep.
We're looking really, really good, and then a mistake in the final round eventually finds themselves, going down in that series, losing that series. It just seems as if the pieces of the puzzle aren't quite fitting together right now, Fru.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, you talk about changes. Ashens came in. You see him on the right-hand side there of your screen. He has been a fantastic addition to this squad. Yeah, in my opinion. I was questioning him in the qualification, the re-qualification tournament.
Yep.
Because J-Rage had a fantastic show in there, but it kind of has flipped. Ashens has played very, very well in the Pro League. Is up there on pretty much all the leaderboards. J-Rage, on the other hand, hasn't been that impressive for me this quarter. But, it's still early doors. It's only 5 weeks in. Still got to find your footing in the Pro League and coming back into that kind of high top-level play after a full quarter out makes it kind of difficult. So, there's definitely life within this Obey roster. They've had some trouble closing out round 9s.
Yep. That's pretty much been it, hasn't it? 3 rounds either way, and they've got 3 maps on the board. Yeah, 100%, and they would be in a much better position. Let's look how the previous game between these two did fall out. I mean, there you go. Round number 9's just not going in the way of Obey Alliance. 5-4, 5-4 last time round, Bunker and District. I wonder if we'll see something similar, considering how close it was. If you're Obey Alliance, yes, okay, you go into this, and we know there has been obviously shotgun changes plenty. We haven't really talked about that too much this week. But at the same time, they were very, very close between these two last time round, and I think this is a much harder one to predict than the first game. And that's saying something, because we expected the first game to be very, very close. It was very, very close. I think this has the potential to be even closer than that.
Yeah, I believe so. I kind of feel like we might see our first third map of the Pro League so far. It is so close between these two teams. Ashen's had a very, very good game last time around in the series.
Yeah.
We see Cougars as well having a very, very good game, but honestly it was the Ashens last time around. This time around, I think Obey have improved a little bit.
Yep.
And honestly, I think Regal have regressed a little bit. So I mean, I think we might see that third map.
If you look across, I mean, this is me just being typical viewer looking at KDA only, but if you look across the KDAs, Obey were better across the board, pretty much, it has to be said. I mean, Ashen's above and beyond the best.
Oh, yeah.
J-Rage close behind them. J-Rage has been poor outside of that game this season. Across the board, though, in general, they were better KDA-wise, but obviously that's not what's ultimately important. It is the rounds on the board, which is what Regal Reserve managed to grind out last time, 5-4, 5-4. So very, very close between these two. We know they're on a pretty even playing field. This is must-win for Obey more than anyone, though. Yeah. They don't want to be going in as last seed. They may well anyway at this point, but they really do need a win here. If you are Regal Reserve, you close this one, you solidify third at this point.
Yep.
There's only one more week of Pro League left. That would make them 2-0. That would mean that Obey, of course, were sitting down there on 0 wins. It would be impossible for them to come out fourth. So in this situation, if you are Obey, you really do need this one. I think the potential is absolutely there. Let's have a look at the picks and buttons before we do actually make a decision on which way this one's going to go. So Exhibit has gone from Obey Alliance. Icebound then gone from Regal. District will be coming in once again. VASCAR then picked by Obey Alliance. Bunker and Training Grounds gone. Asylum last if we do need it. Similar, has to be said. We did play District last time around between these two as well, if I remember rightly. So that's picked by Regal Reserve once again after they got the win on that one. Was it...
It was Bunker last time
Bunker,
as well.
I thought it was Bunker,
So Bunker was the map that actually Obey were ahead on. This is why I'm kind of surprised they've banned it out.
Yeah.
They were up ahead.
Picked VASCAR.
And yeah, they were basically, they choked it a little bit and they lost. They had some good defense, it did Regal, and Obey ended up losing that one 4-5. So it is interesting to see Bunker being banned out there. But Obey have had a lot of history on VASCAR before. They've played it very, very well. They've had some good wins.
It was one of their go-tos last season, wasn't it?
Yeah. They beat Rated R on it a couple of times and looked very, very good whilst doing so. So actually, not too worried about that change up there. I think VASCAR actually suits Obey.
Okay. Asylum, if we see it last, who would you fancy there?
I would fancy Regal Reserve there. Okay. Honestly, Regal have played that map the most. They loved that map last season. Yeah. It's one of our most picked maps across the whole Pro League, both winter and fall quarters. And honestly, Regal have played it very well. Obey have also played it very well, but historically, I think Regal have a bit better performance on that.
The biggest surprise here for me is that Bunker was gone from Obey Alliance, though. I mean, they could have chosen anything.
I would have expected the ban over, a ban on Asylum, even Training Grounds as a ban, perhaps. Yeah.
I mean, if you were saying to me, what map are Obey Alliance going to ban to make sure we do not play our Bunker, Training Grounds, and Asylum? Bunker will be the last one I would have chose.
Yeah, same.
So, I mean, look, there must be method behind the madness. From our point of view, we don't really understand why, but it might not be important. They might 2-0 them, and we might not even have to discuss it, but we may go back to that later on in the series. We will see Asylum if one of these two teams take each map. So let's talk about our matchup, though. Let's talk about the two players that we need to see do better, I think, this time around. Sometimes in this matchup, we sort of talk about these highlighted players and say, if these guys play great, they've got a good chance. These two guys, though, in Reader and J-Rage, have not had a fantastic winter quarter.
Yep. They need to pick up the game, to be quite honest with you. They're both down at the bottom for their teams. On top, in terms of the total leaderboard, they're down at the bottom as well. And realistically, it is about improvement, and it is about coming up to show what you're about and playing with your team this time around. You can see it on the KDA. J-Rage having a little bit of a better performance. Reader, on the other hand, definitely a little bit more inclined to play those objectives rather than get in there and get scrappy. You can see that the caps for game for J-Rage has been almost non-existent. Yeah. League average is about 6.57.
That's just
per game. Yeah. So he likes fighting, but quite honestly, you need to be involved in those caps as well. The objective game is important in escalation. It's one of the main objectives of it. And Reader needs to just pick it up KDA wise. A 1.18 is not good enough in this league.
It's not, and considering, as I said at the beginning of the show, KDA is based on assists. It's based on kills as well. It's not, if you're just putting in a couple of Lancer bullets and that player goes down, it is counting over towards a kill for you.
It's very, very easy.
That's why we're seeing Crimson's and pick up a 5.5. Of course, they're not getting like 20 kills and 5. Well, they are, but at the same time, it's going to the point of where they are helping their team out assist wise is a big factor as well, and that's why KDA is a pretty decent start to try and grasp who's a better team as well. It does let you know those Lancer shots are going through. Either way, we are loading into District. I can see on my screen there now. Predictions for this one. I find this quite difficult. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna say 2-1 to Obey.
I'm gonna say 2-0 to Obey. I don't really
Looks
know
like
why.
we're both in Obey's
I
camp.
was leaning Obey anyway, and I couldn't go the same as you. That would be boring.
Fair enough. Well, yeah. For me, I think Obey have been improving. I think, as I said, Regal haven't been performing very, very well recently. Yes, historically this has gone the way of Regal, but I'm in Obey's camp this time around. I think they might just squeeze this one out.
Well, with a close game on District last time round, Regal Reserve coming out on top of that one. It's no surprise to see it, though, with Obey 0-2 on this one. Although they haven't won the map this Pro League yet, so I can't imagine the stats are fantastic on any of them, but not a bad pick here for Obey Alliance, I feel. A very, very close game between these two last time round, as we said. And then VASCAR, we quite like it. And I think that is why I'm going to go 2-0 for Obey Alliance. I think they'll just about edge them here. And thankfully for Obey Alliance, yes, okay, they haven't got anything to shout and scream about maps-wise, but they do have their own skins. The only team in the EU Pro League who do so. And I'm sure they will try and put their weapons with the brand new Obey Alliance skins to good use. You can get those on the shop, of course. Keep an eye on that one. If you're a big EU Gears fan, I expect you already to have them.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of North American fans actually raving about these Obey skins as well.
They're nice.
They are nice. Very, very nice skins, and definitely have a set myself. So good to see, and it's good to see the players rocking them as well.
I mean, I would hope so.
You would hope so. But you never know.
Cool, though. Trying to stay alive in this round as it's a strong start for Regal. They are going to get the kills through. Ashens is just about going to be there. It's the defensive push coming through. Ashens is actually going to kill everybody, including TJ. Cleans up Zorkos as well. And for all that, they did lose a couple of members there. That push out from Obey is strong. They will get a hold of C. They will not be able to get a hold of B. We can look towards that. Regal Reserve already sending what little resources they have on the map back in that direction. And there's actually going to be Reader and Physics over here trying to defend B. We can see now the big team fight about to come through. It's just actually a decap for Obey Alliance over towards C. They want to help over towards B as quickly as they can get it.
They're going to have trouble here. They need to push low side realistically, push Reader out of there because Cougars, Zorkos, they've got a good hold up in this info room here. So yep, realistically you want to be pushing around, flushing out Reader from the back here, getting control of the mid hill, and then maybe trying to push away across. But this is a very good setup from Regal. They've got a nice setup here.
And honestly, I didn't really love that from Obey. Yes, okay, they push over towards C, they decap that, and then they move away. But they could have maybe gotten a little bit of real estate there. Just try and push up, trying to create a little bit more pressure on Regal Reserve. But as it goes, Regal are being able to set up quite nicely. Are they going to be able to deal with this push, though? The execution needs to be there. J-Rage is going to find a kill there. Really nicely done by Obey. For all that Regal had to set up, they did nothing with it.
They did nothing with it, but quite honestly, that was a beautifully conducted bit of play there from Obey Alliance. They flashed out, baited the push into info, and just flushed under the window and managed to get the 4v2 situation there. So fantastic play, but Regal, they've bounced back very well here. They managed to get the decap on A hill, and they are trying to defend this now, but they're going to get pinned. Fractures gets one. We said he needs to step it up a little bit in this Pro League. He's done all right there, though, to trade himself out, just trying to get himself and his teammate out of a bit of a bad situation.
Can I ask how, after all that, Regal Reserve have two hills and Obey have nothing?
Yeah, the B hill, Obey just rotated around to try and stop the assault on the A hill. I actually think they rotated maybe the wrong way round. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that they should have gone through and tried to take the C hill, but you know, it happens.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a misstep here by Obey Alliance in round number 1. Regal Reserve looking likely to find first blood, and the elimination comes through. Obey choose not to respawn back in. Regal Reserve with a good start. Although it felt as if Obey Alliance really had quite a bit of control in that one outside of the first 30 seconds, but a bit of a weird round. No eliminations from TJ.
Yep, definitely another player from Obey that has had a fantastic full quarter. We mentioned it a couple of times, so I won't go into it too much detail, but a bit more average this quarter. Yeah,
and you know, I don't want to say that he didn't carry Obey Alliance in the full quarter, but he was a big reason as to why they won a couple of those maps, it has 100%. To be said. I mean, specifically, the one I remember was Icebound when he picked up that 3-piece. I mean, to keep them in the game, and then after that, they went on to win that one and win the series. But right now, TJ sitting on an average of 1.55, which, it's not great. It's not great. It has to be said. And we were expecting big numbers out of him. I mean, last season it was like, what, a 2.3 or something over
thereabouts,
over the full quarter. So it's a big difference. And it really is telling for Obey Alliance so far as they sit at rock bottom of the EU Pro League. They really do need a win here. Not the best start. Regal Reserve are the ones to get things underway with a win on the board. Brecker's going to find this first fight onto Zorkos though, and they will make this push over towards Bandstand. They want to try and clear this one out. After they do so, I'd imagine a push over towards A will be in the works, but a bit of a slow, cagey one here. It has to be said, neither team really going for the big pushes or going for those big plays. It is really like sporadic small fights. I say that, the big push and the big play comes out of OB Alliance. The kills in their favor, at least a couple. There's going to be Cougars and Rita going down, and now Fractures & Co have to defend it. They have to defend it well. Has to back on down. We can see the pinch developing from OB Alliance. They push through green as well. Fractures & Co have to back on down, and it's run through the hellfire to try and get there as well. Really nicely worked from OB Alliance. They win a couple of gunfights. They then set up the pinch. And suddenly for Regal Reserve, if you don't win your gunfights, you lose the round.
Yep.
And you lose it quickly.
The timing was great. It really was. They managed to leap round all the way through the Picola just at exactly the right time, just to catch that pinch up. But a 1-1 now. We mentioned actually in the kind of pre-game that yes, OB outslayed, but Regal won this the last time around they played, right? They won it 5-4. But if you remember back actually the last round, OB were actually, as the stats said, completely outslaying a drop shot going down at Cinema. That's an interesting change. But it was actually the change up in strats from Regal. They left a sniper open, if you remember, and just kind of put everything down at the bandstand and just kind of fought a 5v4 for the win. It was a nice little bit of strategic play there. And that's realistically what got Regal through this map last time, was just their awareness, their understanding of how the weapons kind of play out and you know, where they're situated, what their best use case would be. So
I think they realised that drop shot is definitely worth fighting for here, though, Fruit.
Yep.
Everybody over here towards the Samar. The fight's going in the favour of OB Alliance. They will be able to pick up this drop shot. It flies out straight away. Finds Rita. J-Rage finds one at the Zorkos as well. Physics hunting down TJ as well. He's going to go down that drop shot on his back as well, and he won't be too concerned about that. They found the kill. They prevented Regal Reserve from getting a hold of that one. They actually get a 3-cap here. How the hell has this happened? If you're Physics, you've had to back on down, and suddenly Saki's capturing it. Yes, okay, you eventually have backup. You leave it maybe a little bit later than they would have liked, but they do eventually get a hold of B and will start getting points on the board. But nicely done by OB Alliance. They at least sent somebody over towards that Hill. Regal put everything into that drop shot and don't get out with it.
They need to get someone up in the info room actually, just to shoot down from above. Get some shots on the side of J-Rage here as they're pushing in. TJ's going to find the down on Fractures. Ashen's going to clean that one up as well. And now the C-Hill under assault. It looks like Cougar's going to go for this decap. Sorry, not Cougars. Ashen's going to go for the decap. Cougar's going to be defending it. Just get taken down.
Still going. We said J-Rage needing to have a better game. 11-3 out of him so far. On the other side of things, though, Rita was the one we pointed out for Regal Reserve. How's he doing for it? Let's have a look.
Let's have a look indeed. There you go. Sat dead bottom, 191 points. Not doing too much at all.
No.
So, fine. Let's have a look at old J-Rage. He's up at the top there, 11-3. So
well, there you go. Couldn't be as polarizing as it is in the moment. OB Alliance looking good for this round, though. They're in control. And it's felt like they've been in control the majority of these rounds. Rita has picked up a kill, picked up a second as well, so maybe he heard us. J-Rage and Co going down. That's Ashen's with them as well. Breaker drops to Cougars, and OB Alliance. It was looking so good for Regal Reserve there.
I was thinking to myself, why is he sliding in that corner? You can see him. You can, and then I realised it was the X-ray vision.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the luxury of that one.
No, it's a wonderful thing. We get to understand where these gunfights are coming and which way they're going to lie. But it is Regal Reserve to get a hold of B. They've got numbers over here as well.
Drop.
But that's what they're fighting for. And it's going to be OB allowed to get control of Cinema. Oh! TJ catches Cougars with his pants down as well. On top of that, there goes the drop. It's at least nothing. Okay. We will eventually get cleaned up. He must have been tickled by J-Rage there. He would have been that weak. But OB Alliance transfer everything over towards B to get a hold of B. They should be able to get A here as well. Fractures all alone. Trying to do something. Actually going to be shut up from your team if you break. Have to be careful of Fractures here. They maybe make a little bit of a meal of it, but eventually do get rid of him. They will get a hold of A. They will get control of the round once more, but they maybe have given Regal Reserve a little bit of time to get back into this one. B is in their sights, and they need to find it pretty quickly here. J-Rage and Co, though, are finding the kills. They do have the drop shot still available as well. Not a bad spot to be in. This should be their round. Physics now making the push. Needs to be pretty much perfect from Regal Reserve here. Every single gunfight would maybe not even solidify the round. Really nice shots onto TJ. Can he find the kill onto J-Rage as well? He may have done, but either way, it does not matter. The round goes to OB Alliance after a good controlling setup from them. Good rotations as well. Much nicer from OB.
Yep, and you know, when you're in those controlling setups, having that drop shot in your hand is definitely a nice one. So
it's not bad to have, is it?
Yeah, good to see that Obey getting down and scrappy, winning these nice fights. And in the end, this drop shot seemingly a good placement. Looks like we're going to see a reply at Pagola. Cougar's just thinking about it. Flashbang does go down now, so they'll be used to try and extract this this drop shot from the cinema once again. Quick review of the scoreboard. J Rage 16-4.
He heard you, mate. He's got the stream open. He's like, you know what, that through.
Gotta prove through right.
That through.
I'm worthy of being here. Doesn't sound like that at all, but let's have a look what he's up to.
Well, he's flashed. He's really flashed. Everybody from Obey dropping in. Regal Reserve sending many a flashback over to the side of Obey. They win absolutely everything in the middle of the map here now as well. I say that Obey keep going, and Zorkos sends it through green. This should surely be a Regal Reserve round now. They get a hold of B. They get the push over
the wrong way though. That's the issue.
I mean, yeah, that doesn't help. You really maybe would have liked to see a push over towards C to try and solidify what they had, but in the end, it is just a lead for Regal Reserve and not many points on the board. So, I mean, okay, they've got one drop shot left and they have control, so they are technically in the better spot. But don't get a load away from that big initial win.
Not particularly. Not having used the drop shot already. Like they've got one more shot in that, but. Jump on the board. Fractures gets one, gets two. Looking for the second. Saki shuts that one down. There is some crossfire here coming in from Regal Reserve, but in the end, nothing really changing. Cougars has managed to get behind Ashens, it looks like, and now Zorkos trying to push in for the 2v1. Does get the big spread on him there as well, and now Regal, they're looking to be in a good position here.
That was a very nice spread. That was like Christmas Day spread.
Beautiful.
Lovely.
Full table.
We're talking like premium cheese board spread there. Anyway. I'll stop talking about food. Maybe I've got it on the brain. Zorkos sends his final drop shot into Saki, but every other kill goes over towards Obey Alliance.
37 seconds now on that next drop shot, so teams will start to rotate around if they're allowed to. It seems Obey are going to get shut down here. Great Lancer Fire coming in from Regal Reserve, and this is what they were known for prior. They were a very, very strong technical team. They like to set up very, very well, but honestly, some nice dancing here from Cougars. Managed to get himself out of this situation.
How on earth has he won that? Don't give him
a second as well. There's a second.
Jesus, Cougars! Oh, come on. Ashens, I would be careful right now because Cougars ain't missing. No, he's not missing. Cougars keeps on going.
There's the knife trade, but
fantastic from Cougars.
I'll be able to get anything from it. That's the question. Saki trying to get his way through that one.
Whoa, this round has turned on its head very, very quickly.
It has, and you got to look at the deaths now for Obey Alliance. Down to 0. One more kill on J Rage, TJ or Ashens. We'll see them out.
Scoreline in the top left corner, though. That is something that hasn't changed throughout this round. Regal Reserve may have not necessarily seemed in control, but they have been. In fairness, they've ground this one out.
That's a double.
And there's a couple more kills coming through. He's not going to be able to seal it, but Zorkos
had it stolen.
Had a very, very good round there,
yep.
As did Cougars. I mean, it comes down to those few kills he finds over towards Bandstand. If he doesn't, maybe it's a completely different scenario. 3 minutes is all it took there from Regal Reserve to tie this one up at the halfway mark. Let's have a look at the eliminations. A lot more even than they were. Has to be said.
In fact,
Obey were well and truly ahead, actually.
Yeah, they've kind of flipped that on their head a little bit here. Physics actually 18-3, doing fantastic work there. Reader as well stepped it up a lot since we last saw. Now kind of doing very, very well. Breaker and Saki on the other hand, though, yet to top 1,000 points here. They definitely do have the caps as well in their favour. Breaker's got 8 caps already, highest in the game. So
Physics has only died 3 times and they've lost 2 rounds.
Yep.
What's that about?
Yeah. Physics. Let's play a little bit further back than the rest of them though. Zorkos is the first one in, so I expect him to die a little bit more. Physics supporting down with that Lancer Fire. Good shot grenade coming in from Cougars. Drop shot gets picked up. Zorkos hasn't got it yet, but he does indeed get the kill. Should be able to pick this one up now. If he's very, very quick, he could get out with his teammates, just picking him up straight away. Shot grenade was blocking that, so here we go once again. Yep. Good pistol.
Wants to find Breaker without wasting any of these drop shots. We'll push on to D. Has the tools to dispatch quite a few members of Obey Alliance when they come off spawn here. They have to be very, very careful. He's going to back on down. I would have liked to see him maybe remain aggressive at D. Is the domination going to come in either way? Yes, it is. Regal Reserve very, very quickly are back into in the lead in this game.
Yep, they're starting to find a little bit of positioning down at that cinema fight, trying to get that drop shot out, and once they do, they're very, very good at utilising that weapon. They manage to get double kills and just hold off areas for a very, very long amount of time, which is exactly what you want to be doing. We saw EU's finest do it down at the railway on Asylum. They can just hold ground for so long. And it looks like Regal Reserve here taking a note out of Elevate's book, not EU's finest.
Yes.
We need someone just to be stood at the side. If Matt can do it, maybe just
Matt
reach
just
across
like
and slap.
Bat away with something. Well,
yep. Just to get it right. One day we'll get it right. But yes, Regal Reserve definitely looking very good with that weapon.
Frag grenades going down for OB Alliance. So that could be influential. We know that shock was used quite well for Regal over towards the cinema. We know that the points have changed now a little bit, of course. Somewhat leaning towards cinema, maybe a little bit more this time around though. But the flashes and maybe everything else is about to come raining on through. Zorkos maybe tempting the idea of maybe just picking that one up. It's a fantastic shock grenade, I tell you that.
There it is.
Oh, he's dead. Salky sticks that one in the hole. Zorkos goes down.
You know what? He backpacked that. What he should really have done is when that frag grenade is about to go off, get the drop shot out. Obey cleaning up here. Very nice.
Everyone's dead. Everyone.
Yeah, this
Everyone
should be
is dead.
Very quick. You see basically there the Lancer was on the floor. If it had jumped over the frag grenade as he died, as it blew him up, the drop shot would have fallen over to Regal Reserve side. They'd have been able to pick it up and get out. I've seen EU's finest do that a couple of times.
Well, irrelevant of that, it looks like OB Alliance may have run through them anyway. The domination ticking. It is just doing that though, but Regal, you need to get in. You need to get in quick. These gunfights just about going in the favor of OB. They'll clean this up as well, and the horns will sound for the 50 millionth time in this round as OB Alliance eventually get it done. 3-3 now.
Yep.
Answering in the same fashion as Regal Reserve did in the previous. Very quick. Comes down to that big initial gunfight, and then they roll with the punches. 3 apiece now. We're in danger of a good game here, Fru.
I think we're getting one. I actually do.
Yeah.
I think this is both teams coming to play. Neither team wants to finish last.
Smells like a good game.
It means a lot going into Mexico. So this definitely is a must-win for both of these teams. Obey Alliance to get themselves off that kind of bottom floor, right? The 0 points. Regal Reserve just to keep themselves buffered, and in come those pistols. The drop shot, the Boltox coming out there for Obey Alliance. And this is just more ammo for that cinema fight. This is going to make it very difficult for Physics to be lancering over, to be helping support that fight, because a couple of shots in from Obey, and it's goodbye face for Physics.
Goodbye face.
Jump on board with Zorkos once again.
Zorkos
have a look around as we go into this fight once more.
Let's see. Who comes out on top? It always seems to be Regal Reserve actually getting in there.
That's good movement from Zorkos to get
He's
himself
out
out
as well.
Yep.
As well as his teammates finding the kills. And literally every single round, both these two teams are taking all their eggs,
yep,
putting it in the basket, going towards drop shot and hurling the basket at each other, and seeing who comes out on top with egg on their face. This time round, it is Obey Alliance. Regal Reserve are going to do exactly the same as what Obey just did to them in the previous round by the looks of things, but J-Rage going to survive here, and Zorkos has just killed Rita with the drop shot.
Rita was down, to be fair. He was trying to get the bait kill there, so
I'll allow it.
Yeah, that one we can definitely give away. Actually, I'm surprised J-Rage survived that one. Must have just been slightly too far away, the drop shot. Another rotation comes round. D-Hill going to be defended here by Regal. You can see Obey pushing up now through the... I always want to call this the gym. It's an arcade, actually.
Why do you want to call it the gym?
In development, it used to be a gym, but it got changed to
See,
an arcade.
nobody else knows that, though.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I'm always like, oh, it's the gym.
Oh,
but it's not. It's an arcade now, and it's got a wonderful Easter egg. So try and find that one if you get time.
Well, Zorkos is going to find the double drop shot kill, which looked like it was going to lead to a Regal Reserve round. It will, in the end, lead to a Regal Reserve round. Eventually, 4-3 now, 1 round away. It was looking like that round straight from the off, wasn't it? Yep. They just seem to win every single gunfight.
Yep.
Now, if you Obey Alliance, what are the respawns looking like? Well, completely fine, surprisingly. It seemed as if a lot of them were dropping there. But in the end, we'll go in with every single respawn. That's weird to me. I was expecting a couple to be quite far down there. The halfway point was a few rounds ago, but they've been quick rounds, I suppose.
Yeah, they have been quick rounds, and the team that have been winning the round have been winning it pretty flawlessly.
Yep.
So they've just been trading rounds and kind of gaining the lives back, right?
Well, if you're Obey Alliance, you need to win 2 in a row. They have been trading blows the past few rounds, and once again, if you're Obey, you just throw everything in and hope for the best. That seems to be what the tactic is from both these two teams. Throw your flashes, headbutt each other over a drop shot. Whoever comes out on top wins the round. Right now, though, it's an even fight. Ashens and Kodo look like they're fighting back. Fractures is there to try and find something. He is going to find two. Breaker will clean that one up, though. It's looking like an OB Alliance round. Breaker, you need to hit your shots while they're on the floor, mate. Eventually does so. Everybody dropping. And it is OB Alliance that come out with a drop shot.
Very extended fight there, though, which may give Regal a little bit of chance to come back into it with these lower respawns.
Previous 2 rounds are very clean, as you said.
Yep, and this just makes it a little bit more difficult for Obey to actually get that initial setup right to push across. You can see actually Regal with the point lead, even though they lost that fight, they managed to get that that early cap in. So
I think the only benefit is if you do lose that fight and you come off the respawn quickly, you know, to just extend over towards E, because everybody's over towards the cinema side because they're trying to get hold of the drop shot. E should be somewhat open, but the problem for Regal Reserve this time around is that they have to defend against a fully loaded drop shot. But if you're OB Alliance and you are Breaker, you have to make that drop shot work. It's not just about having the presence there. Zorkos is going to find J-Rage a solo kill, and he's going to send that great drop shot in the end to get rid of Zorkos, and we may see the extension over towards D here. But he's going to rotate back over towards E, and maybe OB Alliance will play a few different angles on this one. Cougars, is he going to get dropped as well? Not quite, doesn't quite line the shot there. If you're Breaker, the insend over towards E is not enough to deter OB Alliance from getting a hold of this one. The shots coming through actually from Cougars will do nothing. But everybody else from Regal Reserve is up top over towards the Cinema side. Can they keep on pushing? Yes, they can. Zorkos looking for the kill onto J-Rage. He's got company here as well. Reader and co pushing on through. They want to get a hold of F as quickly as they can. It's a big assault here for it. Shots coming through. J-Rage takes a meaty one, but doesn't seem to matter. Eventually does go down after walking through one. And this is just being quickly flipped on its head. It looked like OB were in control, but suddenly Regal Reserve have won the map. 5-3. They get it done in 2 minutes and 14 seconds. And it just comes down to that one big push, that one big team fight. And they get it done in round number 8. 5-3 is the score. OB Alliance still yet to win a map here in the EU Pro League.
And such a shame, really, for OB. They look starting strong once again, but once again, we do see Regal Reserve come back in, manage to flip it on its head, and in the latter half on District, they just seem to click with it. They seem to do very well on that half every single time. I
think it's hard because you look at OB, when that drop shot first comes through, they start winning these team fights, etc., etc. But then when Regal start to claw back into it, it's off the back of those big team fights that they are winning. So and in that sense, if you're OB, you're like, well, we could ban it out, but you know, we've had a couple of rounds ourselves. But ultimately, it comes down to those fights coming through. In the end, it was OB who won the fight in the final round. Towards the drop shot. But then just don't make it count enough. There was one that went into Cougars, which at the time when he sent it, I was like, well, is that going to really find you much? I mean, it's just one random kill that's not really going to give you too much ground or anything. And then the second one doesn't land. The pressure comes in then for Regal Reserve, and suddenly it's over.
Yeah, and you got to look at how the teams were using the drop shot as well. You saw Obey, they were actually using it offensively, chasing Zorkos, using the drop shot to pick up a kill. When Zorkos had it, he was actually using his pistol on the offense, and then using the drop shot on the defense. So he was defending hills with the drop shot, but pushing offensively with the pistol. And that, for me, is a better way to play it. You saw Zorkos as well picking up a couple of double kills with it. In the end, I think it just comes down to efficiency with the power weapons. Regal Reserve doing fantastically. The nades, that's something you got to question from Obey. We saw one kill. It was on someone that was trapped in a corner.
Yeah.
The rest of the rounds, they didn't really have much
we've seen
impact at all.
We've seen a good couple of shocks coming through from Regal, at least anyway. When they were winning their team fights, it was a big reason as to why. But there you go. Regal Reserve will find map number 1. I don't want to say it's not done here for OB. I will say that VASCAR coming up is a map that we do like for them. If we do go over to Asylum last, though, we like that for Regal. So they're in a pretty bad spot, but not out of this just yet. I think they'll take some positives from that one. Although I don't know. I felt there was a couple of rounds there that they probably could have won, and it sometimes felt that they were in control of the round, but it never really materialized into anything. Like they were winning a couple of gunfights, they had priority on a couple of different points, but just didn't really.
It was translating those kills with into points, into objective control, and
especially early on,
they didn't do that really.
Yeah,
they just didn't do it, and it's something that maybe comes with District. Maybe they're just not comfortable with that map.
Possibly.
We've seen them on VASCAR do it very, very well. So, out of the 2 first maps, if I was to predict one that would go Regal's way, I would have said it would have been Districts rather than VASCAR. So realistically, I think if you're Obey, you've still got a lot of chance to come back in this one. I think VASCAR definitely suits you, and I think Asylum, both teams actually match up pretty evenly on it. We've seen some great games from Obey on that map as well, especially against EU's finest, where they held them off that top bridge for a long time.
It always seems to be the thing when we mention how somebody's had a good game against the EU's finest, and it's like they nearly beat them. They pushed them to the last round, but ultimately,
if you get them there, you've done something right. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, but in just had to mention to me that we said EU's finest 5 million times once again.
Elevate.
This is going to take maybe a week or so. We've got our last week to redeem ourselves.
Yeah, we'll do better next week.
I'm going to get a big poster. I'm going to put it up there above our screens, and it's going to say Elevate on it. I'm going to get the Elevate logo, right? Put it on a big bit of paper so we stop saying it.
All right. Can't wait to see it.
You put the pressure on. I put the pressure on myself actually to do this now.
It's your own fault.
It is my own fault. But hopefully we'll remember that it's Elevate, not EU's finest. Either way, in this game, Obey Alliance needs something done here on VASCAR. We can see the teams are in the lobby, and well, most of them are anyway. So we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully this one will get started pretty quickly. Either way, which way do we see this going? Do you think Obey come back into it?
Yes.
5-3. It's a close game.
I think that was a close game, and I think VASCAR is a map that it suits Obey more. I think they've had some good history on it. They've come back against Rated R on it a couple of times now. They've had some round 9s on it before where they've managed to win one. Which is round 9s haven't been kind to them this quarter. Maybe it's the kind of jump start they need, and I think Obey can come back and win this one. But I'm glad to say Regal definitely outperformed how they have been playing the last couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks. So
yeah, I mean, when they were starting to get outside at the beginning of the game, that's when we seen Obey were mostly not quite taking over, but they were in the lead, of course. But then when Regal did find their feet in the slaying game, they did start coming back into it. So if they can do the same here again on VASCAR, yes, okay, it's a very different map, plays pretty differently in the district, to be fair, then maybe they should be able to walk away as 2-0 winners here. But I think if you're Obey, try and just do what you do in the beginning of the game. Do what you do so well on VASCAR, which is rotate at the right times, rotate to the right places, and you will send this to a map number 3 for the first time in the UK's Pro League.
Win the quarter.
Honestly, these highlight shows that I've been doing have been very short and very easy to do.
Yep.
It has been quite quick to get through some of these. But today, we've had plenty of rounds, so I'm going to try and get some further highlights out for you this week, because we've actually got the rounds to play with this week.
True.
Either way, though, this is how the series will break down. So far, so good for Regal Reserve. 5-3 to them. District was the first map, and VASCAR will be coming up next. Asylum, if we do indeed need it.
Yep, it's going to be interesting. I think so. I honestly, I favour Obey, and if they do win this map on VASCAR, we're going to see it. So I have to say yes at this point. Prediction was 2-1 to Obey. They have to win these two to make that come true. So, yeah, I'm in Obey's camp for this next map for sure. That said, though, it's going to be an interesting one. We can see how the teams kind of played out on it.
Regal haven't won a round of this map yet.
But yeah, both teams played it. Regal got absolutely battered on it, to be quite honest with you.
Maybe that's why Obey picked it. Yeah. They were like, well, they haven't won a round on it yet, so that's positive.
Obey have played it once. 38% win rate. It's not the worst in the world, and we have seen them in the past win it, and very well so. So, advantage Obey, you would assume, going into this one. Let's see how they face off. TJ going to be the first one we're watching, heading down towards the tank. A bit of an angle, just making sure no one's pushing through there. Bit of a slower push up here now from Obey, but the flashbang's not very good either, to be quite honest with you. TJ maybe wanted to back out a little bit here.
Which one? There was plenty of them going through.
Yeah, they all went fantastic. And it looks like Regal Reserve going to be coming out of this skirmish on top.
Just about. A couple of kills going in their direction, and suddenly there's a lot of people respawning for Obey Alliance in a second. But Regal trying to keep this aggression up. Good shots by Breaker. Not going to be able to clean up this kill on the Zolkos, though. As Fractures and Coke continue running through, looking for C as well, but Obey should be in a position to try and hold this one down. Good shots by Fractures. Once again, J-Rage is now dead. Luckily for Obey, though, they are coming off the spawn, and that is right next to C, so they should be able to defend this one. A couple of members are here to try and hold ship. Fractures, he's just running through them right now. It has to be said, there's 3. Find the 4th as well. Fractures is running a train through Obey Alliance here. Regal Reserve, though, will start dropping. Obey should hold on to C. But wow, Fractures started going off there.
Yep. Looked like he was playing a bit of a ranked Koth, just running about, trying to pay everything. in the end, it gets him killed, but it was fantastic before that. He definitely managed to pick up some good kills, and definitely is the reason why now Regal Reserve up about 50 points.
But as I said, OB Alliance very good at this map. They know how to dictate it, I want to say. They know where to move to at the right times. They know that the decision making on this map is very good. And if they can continue to do that, they, well, should be in this round. I say that. They still need to win their gunfight. Saki and TJ drop and get cleaned up while they're at it. Fractures. Kuga's going down though here. Kills being traded. Can OB stay in this one? Trying their best to do so, but Regal Reserve are the ones coming out with the kills. I say that though. Ashens gets a nice shot on the Rita. Here comes the pickup. Rita not going to get cleaned up either. Physics actually is the one to drop him in the end, but ultimately it is Regal Reserve who come out on top in the team fight.
Yep, and that's the new give distance coming into play there.
Yep.
That's
Further shotgun changes this week as well.
Yes.
We haven't really talked about that too much, but much the same through.
Yeah, I believe so. I think it's kind of similar to what we talked about last week. Just kind of understand how it works, and just getting used to it as well, right? It's still early doors. Team's going to take a couple of weeks just to really nail it, to be honest with you. Any changes to the kind of core systems, right? The core weaponry is always going to take a little bit of adjustment.
At least there's a decent amount of time before Mexico.
That's it. It's not on the day, right? I mean,
no. I mean, there was a couple of whinges last time round, of course, when the change came through for escalation quite soon before the event. This time round, though,
it was also slightly different build movement-wise.
Yep.
For San Diego as well, which was kind of new to the players. So, yeah, definitely improvements in the setup to come through. Yep. Sorry, I was just watching what physics was up to there. Definitely some improvements here coming through for this quarter. And definitely things a little bit more safe for the players, a little bit more structured for the players, which is always good to see.
Well, Regal Reserve are just about going to win this round anyway. They'll win it off a 1-cap in the end. A couple of big gunfights over towards A was what really dictated that round. In the end, that felt like the middle hill. If anything, both two teams fighting over that for quite some time. That's why we're seeing some pretty low respawns already.
Yeah.
But would it be an OB Alliance Regal Reserve game without everybody dying unnecessarily? Probably not.
Definitely not.
So here
That's
we go.
exactly what you expect from Regal coming into a game. Lots of fighting, lots of deaths.
Yeah, I like just saying about Regal Reserve. They like to die.
Right. Yeah. I think that's about true. I think it still rings true, even to this day. They like to die.
It was only a few weeks ago you said it.
It's 2 weeks, isn't it? It's a long time in Gears of War.
Well,
it's 2 updates, 2 pro leagues, 6 shows. There's a lot going on.
Quick math.
Try my best.
Physics now looking towards the push over towards B, but it's a big hit by OB Alliance over towards the seaside. And I don't mean the actual seaside, I mean as in sea point.
So there's a lot of sand, not much water.
Yeah.
We're on a desert.
Oh, we're starting to lose the plot. This happens about just halfway through the second game every single week. It was the Gladiator codes last week. We're talking about bloody... I'm trying to think of a seaside town here, and my mind is just...
Bridlington.
Bridlington. Out of everywhere, you choose Bridlington.
My gran lives there. And my dad.
Not like... I'm still struggling to think of them.
Scarborough.
Brighton. There we go. That was the one that was eluding me. Whitby. Here we go. We're rhyming them all off now. Either way, the C point here for Regal Reserve is what they were aiming for. Is it? Oh, no, it's not. No. Either way, because the retake for OB Alliance, the shot's going through, and Regal do have the back down.
Reminds me of a... I don't even know if I want to do it.
That's not.
Go on.
Let's just cut it off there.
Just one quickly. Just one quickly. I'm looking for a Scottish football club, beginning with M.
Motherwell?
Yeah, she's fine, thanks.
Ah, no, I see Matt shake his head at me as well. He's like, don't answer. Don't answer. Oh, unforgivable.
Oh, no. Terrible, but...
I seen that joke on the internet this week as well.
Yeah,
I'm furious. I'm furious. I fell for it. OB though. I'm walking away with winners of this round, I think. Everybody dying. Regal Reserve should be able to just about stick into this one. Oh, come on. It wasn't that funny.
Jesus. It was. It was great. It was the fact that you actually went with it that done me.
I'm fuming.
Good.
No. I don't know if I'll squeeze that one into the highlights show. I managed to get yours out there on Twitter about Gladiator last week. I think that was
good,
that
actually.
one for the...
We could do Gears Pro League live from the Apollo.
I don't know if we can.
We can ask Rose if she's got the budget. But
yeah, well, I think she might. I don't know if she'll want to commit it to that. Breaker and Kodo. Should be. I mean, it felt like OB Alliance were walking away for this round. They found 4. There were 3 or 4 kills, and somehow they don't have control of this one. It just seems as if Regal Reserve are walking away with the rotations there. I mean, during our tirade of whatever the hell we were saying the past minute or so, have just been managing to rotate, getting hold of these points where they need to, and just outmaneuver Obey Alliance to a point. They will walk away as winners of this round by the looks of things. Obey, where have you been? You've been chasing shadows the whole round by the looks of things. They will get a hold of C. It will not matter unless they have somebody over towards it. They do not. That is 2-0 to Regal Reserve. And I mean, I know we were distracted, to be fair, but at the same time, it just seems as if Obey won a massive gunfight in the middle of that round, but yet didn't develop into anything. So,
you know, we were asking,
same story,
head to head, who's going to step up? J-Rage, 181 points in 2 rounds.
He played well in the last map.
He did play well in the last map, but it's consistency that counts, right? And right now, doesn't seem to be getting much done for his team. Doesn't seem to be finding many points at all.
The only consistency in this game is that we are consistently making fools of ourselves for.
It's true. It is true. Shot grenade going down for Regal Reserve.
It's a shock there, but 2 flashes on this side of Obey Alliance. Just maybe, I don't know. I'd prefer the shock, in all fairness, but it depends how you utilize it. Those flashes over towards the backside of the tank, though.
They were nice.
There's a concept going on back there. Cougar's dropping everybody, though. That is some fantastic team fire coming in from Regal Reserve. Plenty of shots going down. Obey Alliance going to have to back on down. And once again, Regal Reserve get these initials. Shots coming through, and they're hunting now. Everybody from Obey is weak, and they're having a run. The back air not quite landed the first time, but will land the second for Fractures. Whips it around the corner. Physics is going to drop Ashens and Saki as well. Bit of an elongated fight going out here, but it is ultimately Regal Reserve who are coming out on top nearly every single time here for him.
Yep, Regal just got to be careful not to push too far up there. It is very, very quick to come from the spawn and getting back involved with that fight. Also, around the other side, Obey looking towards the push on A now. They are going to push up onto this half height, and Breaker does get the kill on Reader. Reader should have been out a bit quicker there just to get back to his teammates now, and now Regal on a little bit of a back foot, having to defend on their home hill, but looks like Fractures once again trying to get the kills, does get taken out now. Ashens trying to push forward, gets greeted by a meat shield, and some good movement here from Ashens just to avoid the shots. Knife comes out, there's a melee. Tyson Fury, where you at? Ashens does get taken out by Reader though now, back off the respawn queue, and that's what we said, it's so very, very quick to come off the spawn. Reader, you got taken back out, come back in it straight away.
Because if you go into that fight and just sort of trade, and it's quite close to the respawns, you're in such a bad spot when they come back off the respawns.
Exactly.
As we're seeing right now, as that domination is ticking on through. It's only B where Mobile Alliance can answer. The shots come through. It looks as if they have just kept Regal away for now. Regal will be happy though. They've got the lead. They've got 2 points. Yes, okay, B is going to go over
be in a very bad situation in just a second. Fracture's going to spawn up behind him with that spawn protection as well. J-Rage, they've got to move fast. They've got to move quickly, try and take out Cougars. What they should do now is turn very, very quickly on Fractures, but there just doesn't seem to be any kind of coordination there. They both fought 1v1s, both on a bit of a disadvantage as well, and now Ashton's put himself in the exact same spot. He's going to have to back down, but doesn't have time. Cougars, Fractures, Physics even, takes him out. And that's the elimination. 3-0 now. Regal Reserve looking so much better this week. So much better. They're winning their gunfights. They're not letting Obey outslay them. They're keeping pace, and that's the main thing. If Regal Reserve can keep pace, they're better at the map game, right? They're better at the objective game. Therefore, they win a lot more rounds. Realistically, if you're Obey, you've got to step up your slaying prowess. You've got to be winning these opening fights. Ember is going to come through for Regal Reserve. That's an interesting one. Definitely changes the map up a little bit. Yep. Makes it a little bit more dangerous out there.
If you're Obey, I just don't know if that offers enough, you know. The marks has now dropped down. I mean, there wasn't that much of an option outside of a mid-drop, but if you're Obey in this scenario now, you don't really have too much to play with. I would try and mix it up. As said, try and bring something different to the table in terms of the weapon drops, or placements, I should say, and maybe that offers you a route back into this game. Right now, you're 3-0 down. You're 2 rounds away from cementing your place at the rock bottom of the EU Pro League here, the winter quarter. TJ is going to drop fractures though, twice. If you're Cougars, this is a position where you could have been cleaning people up, but not bringing anything to the table quite yet. Oh, I say that. TJ gets dropped. Guess the commentator, the second time around, Cougars is going to get that kill, so that might open things up as the flashes fly over the top. They bombard Obey as they're going to have to probably back on down. This emboss shot nearly found your teammate once again. We've seen one of them today already. But here we go. This should be a win for Regal Reserve in this fight. Breaker is able to answer back, but only once. Zine gets cleaned up there now. When we do now have 4 members of Obey Alliance down, Zorkos makes that 5. The elimination won't quite come through. The domination might, though. Saki, you'll do very well. It's going to break on through, and I'm Regal Reserve. I'm pushing out there, just trying to solidify that one. They may do that anyway. J-Rage is going to be able to walk through, but just into the Nasha fire of somebody else from Regal Reserve. 4-0 now. This is looking so good for Regal.
Yeah, this is strong. This is very, very strong, and I like the rotation at the start of that round by Regal Reserve. They identified that Obey actually were trying to push 4 heavy around onto their home hill, so they rotated the M-bar very, very quickly, and they just defended that extraordinarily well.
Yep.
That was, yeah, it was kind of textbook, you know, reading your opponent and just setting up to defend it. But quite honestly,
easy.
You know, they did it very, very well. They got the kill with the M-bar, won the fights. It's exactly what you want from Regal Reserve. And now the torque bow comes down at tank, and this, for me, is a little bit more Obey Alliance. The torque bow has been a staple weapon in their arsenal for a few
Regal
weeks
that
now.
put it down.
Yep, but for Obey Alliance, it's good for them, right? They're having to fight for this middle. They've got the weaponry as well to fight above it.
It made no sense for me that they've done that.
We'll see. We'll see what happens with it.
I just think that Regal were winning quite comfortably. I would have just liked to see them maybe just work on some of their home placements. I mean, either way, they might go on to win it anyway, but I just think, you know what I mean? Where I was
I get what you mean. Regal have been winning this tank fight, though, the last couple of rounds, so perhaps that's what they're thinking. If we can force the tank fight once again for this round and win it once more, we've won the map, right? It's a bit of a gamble, but
let's see if it pays off. TJ. He's going to get a kill or two. Yeah, and well, okay, Regal won the fight every single other round. This one, they lose it when there's something to play for.
Yep.
Over towards the tank. Yeah, I should have listened to me for.
Should have
listened.
Coach John.
I was about to say, catch me in Mexico. You won't.
You won't.
You won't. Breaker though. Here with the marks area is going to make his way over towards F. Of course, we are at the halfway point. Is he going to hit some clean shots on the Cougars, who will be blinking red right now? Saki going to hit a nice shot though. He will land his torque bow onto him, and now he's actually going to get chased down. Has to back on down, and he's in a horrible spot here. Does have company next to the tank. Fractures is going to drop as well, so that's helped him out. He will be able to back on down. They will survive that onslaught from Regal.
Yeah, this is way better from Obey.
Yeah, this is too late though.
Potentially. I mean, for this round, perhaps not, but in terms of the map, in terms of the series, it is dire straits for Obey Alliance.
Well, can they amount a big comeback here?
I mean, it would be a massive comeback, wouldn't it?
It would be. I mean, it would be a complete reverse sweep.
5-4, and then win the last map as well.
Yeah, it's the ultimate comeback that you've set yourself up for. The storyline is there for you, Obey Alliance. I like what you're thinking. However, you need to make sure you execute. Saki now moving forward, trying to get something done. Physics is now going to try and rebuttal that one. Fractures now pushing forward as well. Regal getting very aggressive. Where's that talk? Well, they still got anything to play with here, Obey. I'm just looking.
It was on Saki. He just died. So
yeah, and I was just thinking, why has he moved in so quick? I'm sure he had bullets left. I don't know if I'm making that up, but getting aggressive. Ultimately, Regal Reserve come out on top, and there's plenty of time left to play with, as you can see by the win condition that comes up for Regal. 50 seconds, and they'll close this one out. Cougars in a bit of a tough spot here. We'll have to back on down, wait for his teammates to come in. Seeing the position of Obey up top, Cougars still somehow surviving. However, E is being captured by Regal. Cougars eventually goes down, maybe a little bit too late if you're an Obey Alliance fan, but once again, Saki is going to be able to push through and get a hold of that torque bow. Can they use it to get around on the board here? They need to be aggressive. They need to get a hold of F. They may just do that, but Rita lines it up on Ashens, finds one, but lingers too long. Saki is able to line it up with the torque bow, gets it done. Cougars is pushing him out though. He could be in a dangerous spot here. The movement is not fantastic from Saki. Eventually he does get away, does have cover from his teammates. Have to be careful of the domination though, and as this is all going on, Regal Reserve are just chipping away at this lead here that they still have. They are in the commanding position, and for all OB Alliance, you've commanded the talk ball. You've commanded the map, seemingly.
Yep.
But what have you found from it? Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely.
No rounds either. Not one from OB Alliance there. They have been dealt with by Regal Reserve 5-0 here. Map number 2, they will sit and stay bottom of the EU Pro League.
Yep, and deservedly so after that performance, to be honest with you.
It was just messy, wasn't it?
It was messy, it was a bit deflated. They had the advantages, they were not pushing them, and honestly, Regal Reserve were the better team out of those two then, and they deserved the win. Fair play to them.
I just don't know what to say to OB anymore. And I don't want to be too harsh on them, I don't, but it just seems as if, like, they put themselves in a good position. And I don't want to say they throw it away. It just doesn't feel like they ever do enough with it. Mm-hmm. Like they occasionally will win a big gunfight. They'll win a big team fight, and this is what confuses me. I'm watching them and I'm like, oh, they've won the gunfight.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 3 down.
You got 2 hills. You got a point lead.
You just lost 5-0. How is this? It's not computing through. It's not computing. But either way, Regal Reserve play very, very well there. Ultimately, you have to say that. Okay, on a couple of occasions where they were being outside, they were rotating. We said that. That's what OB are great at on VASCAR. Clearly, not as good as Regal Reserve. 5-0 on that map after a very close district. This one's done and dusted in pretty quick fashion. Yeah, has to be said.
A lot quicker than we expected. I think this would be the longer game out of the two if we were to predict. Yeah. But in the end, yeah, Regal doing a fantastic job.
What's wrong? What? I don't know if I'm just making that up about OB Alliance, but they just seem to not take that advantage that they do get. From my perspective anyway, and, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be some Gears Enigma expert, but it just like... It feels as if they get an advantage and they take a step forward and then they just stutter and it's just like they hesitate. They don't do anything with it.
You compare them to Rated R. Yeah. Rated R against EU's finest.
They get a kill and they fly.
You get a kill against EU's finest and you'd expect that to be the hardest push in the league, right? But they do. They take the fight, they go forth with it, and they try and make something of it every time. Sometimes a little bit too much in their front.
Well, yeah.
OB, on the other hand, they seem to, get a 2-cap, get the weapons, and just let Regal just dictate whatever happens next, and they try and absorb it. And honestly, it's an offensive game. Yeah. You, as the aggressor, are in the better position, and Regal Reserve were the aggressors in a lot of that then, which is very strange to say about Regal, but they were, and they won it, and they come through with a brilliant 5-0 victory.
Well, there you go. Regal Reserve will find themselves definitely third, could maybe find themselves second. They will be playing Rated R, if I do believe correctly, and next week, so we should be able to see that one, and that will determine who finishes second. Rated R will be my favourites in that one, but something that is solidified is Elevate, sitting at the top 5, and from them they will play OB Alliance next week as well, which, I mean, oh no, they won't.
No, they won't. They'll play Regal.
They play Regal. So Rated R, okay, right, so Regal Reserve have to win that one. Never mind. I thought they were playing Rated R. Never mind, but besides the point. Here for OB Alliance, they're sitting in the bottom. That's where they aren't going to be going into Mexico now. They can't move from this spot. It's got to be a difficult one to take once again, but ultimately it comes down to how you perform on land. They can maybe bump themselves up if they have a really good placement. Yeah, that's what it's about, right? It's about going there, doing your best, fighting some good teams out in Mexico, and trying to get the best placement you can. And OB, they've been to so many events now, right? Like they played all the way through Gears 4. They had a decent-ish showing in San Diego, not the best, but quite honestly, none of Europe did, so that was a given. But this time around, going into Mexico, it's it's different ground. The Mexican crowd is often actually behind the European teams as well, as another international region kind of coming into the North American dominated Gears scene. We do like to support one another, both LATAM and Europe, so they'll have some fans behind them. Yeah. And honestly, hopefully that's enough to push them through and kind of get them into some better placing situations. They need something. It has to be said. A minus 28 round difference right now as they sit at the bottom of the EU Gears Pro League. And unfortunately, it just seems to be the same old story every single week for them. It just they seem to have something, but just nothing at the same time. It's very, very difficult to watch at times, and hopefully they find the piece of the puzzle that they are missing. But somebody who is not missing anything right now is Elevate. A very good win against Rated R in the end, and it's one of those wins that consistently we're seeing them have easy games, but now they get pushed to the limit a little bit, but ultimately they always come out on top. We play Gears of War, and ultimately in Europe, EU's finest, or now Elevate, always win. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We're back with the final week before Mexico next week. Week number 6 should be very, very interesting. We'll see who's heading into Mexico looking the strongest. It's looking like Elevate so far. We'll see you next week.